Hi everyone, today we are creating an LA Lakers themed tutu, and we're doing it a little bit different because we're adding charms and we're sewing them on instead of hot gluing them. What this enables us to do later, once that tutu is not usable, it's been outgrown, you can nip them off and reuse the charms. You'll need your tutu, some thread that matches the tulle as close as possible. That way you don't have to worry about your sewing technique too much, and the charms or embellishments that you're going to use. This video is one that you can actually see better for understanding than really talking it through. It does not take a huge amount of knowledge in sewing. Trust me, I don't have that, and this was easily done. So what you're going to do first is you're going to take your thread, go ahead and double knot the end. That way you avoid that thread coming through, especially when you're almost finished. You almost finish and then the thread comes out right at that last part. It's really aggravating. So double knot it a few times so that you don't have to worry about the thread coming off of the needle for you. I'm going to show you first with this big charm, and it's got the various sports on here. This is themed basketball, but it's bigger, so hopefully you can see it more easily. Take your thread, put your charm against your tulle, pick out that spot like you normally do, lift up the spot with the embellishment on there and the tulle. Now take your needle and run it through the tulle from behind. What this does is once you're finished, you can tie it off, nip it, leaving a little bit of thread so that knot doesn't unravel on you and it's not noticeable. Basically, you're finishing at the back, so any thread is covered by all of the tulle. Now for these charms, there's actually a hole because it is a charm, and what we're going to do is we're going to run it through the tulle, the thread through the tulle, pulling it up, now bringing it through the hole, and then going through the tulle again, in and out, in and out. That's all you're doing, and you're just going to do that a few times, making sure that your charm is securely on there. Make sure that you finish with the thread on the back. You've got your starting point that you started with and left that in the back, that extra thread, and now once you finish going in and out from the hole to the tulle, you'll do the same thing, and then now all you're going to do is tie several little knots, or one knot, but you're going to keep going over and over until you feel it secure, and then take your scissors and nip it off. And see, look at that, it's really secure. Now we're going to do a basketball hoop. This one's a little bit different because the hole on the charm is side to side. So the hole for this charm is going horizontally. So it's a little bit different, but not too much of a dilemma. You're going to do the same concept. Now, if you find that it's posing more of a problem because you're having to go horizontally through the tulle, through the holes, back through the tulle, through the holes again, go ahead and just use that hole part, that base, and run your thread from underneath the tulle, pulling it up, going over the hole area, and then going down again. So basically you're just going in and out over the base part of the hole and not even using where you have to go through the horizontal part through those holes. You're just basically going over the base with your thread in and out, securing it to the tulle. And then again, you're going to make sure that you finish at the back so that you can tie it off with a knot and nip it and find that it's secure. Special side note, if you want your charms to move around a little bit, jingle a little bit. Say, for example, you're putting some bells on there with thread. All you have to do is leave the thread a little lax after about the third time. You're going to leave a little bit of room for it to move around. Usually I like to make mine, if I put it here, I want it to stay here. But if you've got something like bells, you may want to do this. So all you're doing is leaving it a little lax with some extra thread there. And that will allow for it to move around and jingle around. So we've got our sports themed big charm, and then we've got some basketballs throughout, and then we have some basketball and hoops, and this really makes this basketball themed. Now to make it LA Lakers themed and distinguishable, besides the color effect, we're using some ribbon that we got from Mickey Jojo on Etsy. And I really like this seller because she offers discounts when you're purchasing various kinds, various lengths, and she also packages it really well. Great seller. Everything arrives quickly and intact. One thing that I want to point out too is, if you'll notice on my ribbon, it shows how many yards I have. So when I'm doing a project, once I finish with that and I see that I need more or less, I know, okay, I purchased 3 yards, I actually need 5. Or hey, I've got 2 yards left over. So that's cost effective. So look her up on Etsy, just put in Mickey JoJo and you'll be able to find her. Since this particular tutu is created on a crocheted band, I'm not going to do the slip knot method because this is wider ribbon and it just seems to be too bulky at the top. So instead what we're doing is you're going to measure it out, making sure that you leave a little bit of room for the flap that you're going to make that's going to go through the crocheted hole. Make sure you do that. I made the error, as you can see, and it was going to be one length and it's going to be shorter now because I didn't add for that. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to first you're going to heat seal your ribbon and just run it across with a lighter, or if you have a burner tool, that's fine. But do it quickly because it can catch fire and it can burn you and it can melt. But this is going to keep it from fraying on you. Since this is one-sided, making sure that the printed sided is on the top. Make sure you pay close attention to that because you don't want to have to mess with that once you glue. If you're working with double-sided printed ribbon, you don't have to worry about this step. Now what you're going to do is you're going to kind of fold your ribbon, that piece that you want to go through the crocheted hole, kind of fold it a bit so it's easier for you to run through the hole. Now bring some of it out, maybe an inch and a half. Keep it kind of folded. Sometimes I use a dab of glue to kind of make it into a triangle effect. This allows me to not have any of the sides showing. Now take that little flap that you've created, put a dab of glue and bring it to the top of the underside of your ribbon. Press firmly, and now you've left enough room to adjust it the way that you want. And that's all that it takes. Now we're going to place the last remaining embellishments on here and take a look at the finished LA Lakers themed basketball tutu. We thank you so much for supporting our channel by sharing, liking, and subscribing. Have a fantastic day.